The aim of my exposition of the book in the sermon for those 33 years was to fuel me first and set my heart aflame with the glories of God revealed in the text of this book, so that I, as I opened those glories through the text, could draw other people into my experience of God. That's preaching in my understanding of what it is. So the aim of preaching was only secondarily to keep their marriages together, or to make them bold in witness, or to make them fervent in prayer, or to release them into God-centered living and mission, or to grow the church, or to meet the budget. All of those things were secondary. Now, I totally believe, I was a pastor. I wanted their marriages to stay together. I wanted them to be a praying people. I wanted them to boldly witness. I can't win everybody to Jesus. They got to talk about Jesus. I wanted them to be involved in missions. I wanted them to be sacrificial in their giving. I wanted the church to grow. Some pastors, however, feel the burden and the urgency of all those practical things so deeply that they switcheroo and begin subtly or blatantly to make those the primary aim of preaching, failing to realize if this church is not thrilled with the God of this book, the soil in which those things grow won't be there. And over time, you may think you're doing a little end run around worship over the word to get more practical. It's going to backfire. So, yes, to change lives, but not that way. I think those things and 100 other practical fruits of righteousness that grow in the Christian life grow in the soil of worship. So my primary task was to lay open texts in such a way that the meaning of the author could be understood, and the reality in the meaning, the reality of God and Christ and salvation in the meaning could be displayed so that I and they could exult in that meaning, in that reality. So you can hear two pieces to that, I hope. I call it, the title of the book, Expository. Make it plain. Make it plain. These are not your ideas. I don't give a rip about your ideas, preacher. I want to know what's in this book. Make this plain. I call that exposition. Get into the text, show the clauses in the words, how they work, how they make the points, and then go through it to reality. So you're not playing games grammatically. Get to the reality, and then do you see it? Do you feel it? Is it meaningful to you? Are you blown away by it, Pastor? Do they see that? So, expository exaltation. That's what I call Christian preaching. And I'm going to define worship in a minute. I've been kind of assuming it all morning, but we really need to do some exegetical work to define what worship is. But before we get there, when I say that we are to exult over the reality coming through text from the Bible, I have in mind a kind of proportional, emotional response to the text, to the reality in the text. And the proportion has to do with the kind of reality that we see there. So if it's a heavy reality that this text just opened, you're not lighthearted. If it's a terrifying reality, you're not chipper. If it's a tender reality, you're not harsh. If it's a harsh reality, you're not tender. And on and on. I'm talking about a proportional, appropriate, affectional experience of the reality that you've just opened for the people. If you handle the majesties of God with the same casual demeanor you used when you told the illustration about your cat, you're out of touch with the reality. And you know, over time, the people are going to know this. You can fool unspiritual people forever. You can't fool Christians. I'm talking about people who have the Holy Spirit and are walking into your service with the living God in them, expecting to hear His word dealt out with exaltation that corresponds to the nature of the reality you've just opened in the text. They know whether you are in touch. Don't fake it. You just quit the ministry if all you can do is fake it. There are actors in the pulpit. They can pull it off for a long time because they grow a church of unspiritual people. And unspiritual people are deceivable. Spiritual people are going to just drift away from that church. It'll grow like crazy. But the real Christians are down the street in a little church where the man's real. He's real. He walks in there from the closet with God, and the aroma of Jesus is on him. They can smell it.